Now, there's some things that you can be checking yourself regularly. Those are very minor checks which you can do, and these things are very important because they can prevent problems happening to your car, especially when it comes to fluids like the oil level, the water level, the coolant that is. There is also the brake fluid level, and there is the radiator water. Those are some of basic things that any motorist needs to know how to check and confirm that the levels are okay, because when the levels go down, or sometimes when the levels are too high, they may cause problems to the engine. For instance, if the level of coolant is above the recommended maximum level, then it may cause your car to overheat. If your brake fluid level is below the minimum level, your brakes may not function properly. And these are things that any vehicle owner should be able to check even without going to the petrol station. So let me take you through what you can check yourself as a self-check before going for a normal service. Let us start with the battery. This is your car battery. Most of the batteries nowadays are actually maintenance free, which means you do not need to do any maintenance on your battery. The battery is maintenance free. Once you fix it in your car, it will run in your car for the recommended period of time. Most batteries will last between 3 years and 5 years. So, however, there's a way that you can check if your battery is okay. There is an indicator. You can check that by this hole. As you can see, it is showing me that it's green. So which means the battery is perfect. So when this shows you green, it means that the battery is okay. If, for instance, the battery has a problem, this will turn into red. The moment it turns into red, it means it's now time for you to replace that battery. However, maintenance-free batteries will give you a service of 3 years to 5 years. So if your battery is not maintenance-free, you then have to be checking the distilled water levels from time to time. Sometimes it goes down because of the recharge cycles of the vehicle. So, but maintenance-free batteries, there is nothing to do. Just fix it in the car and let it serve you for as long as it will serve you. We then go to the oil. This is the dipstick. It's usually a yellow sort of handle on most of the cars, and it goes either in front of the engine or at the side of the engine or at the back of the engine. And this is how you check your oil level. I'll just demonstrate it to you just now. First, make sure that you have a rag that you will use to clean the dipstick. Once you pull it from the engine, that is how you pull the dipstick. Wipe out the oil. Yeah. Then the dipstick has got markings. There's a hole here at the bottom. That is the minimum level, and there's another hole here at the top. That is the maximum level. So the oil in your car must always be between these two markings. Some cars have got holes, other cars will have lines that will indicate the minimum level and the maximum level. So once you have wiped the oil, you then return the dipstick into the engine. Yeah, like that. You return the dipstick and then you pull it out again. And once you pull it again, it will show you where the level of the oil is. For instance, this car is showing me that the oil level is slightly above the maximum, but the engine was running, and that could be the reason why. You can check the oil when the engine has stayed a bit of time so that the oil can settle. If it is way above the maximum level, then you can reduce the oil, take it to a mechanic so that they can reduce the oil. If it is below the minimum level, then it's time to add your oil level. But between the service intervals of any vehicle, it should always be between the maximum limit and the minimum limit. So that is how you check your oil level for your car. So we now go to the brake fluid, and this is where, for this particular car, this is where the brake fluid container is. This is the brake fluid container, and you'll add your brake fluid here. As you can see, it has the maximum level and it has the minimum level. So for this car, the brake fluid is between the minimum level and the maximum level, which means it will give you a good service. As long as it is not below the minimum level, then the brake fluid is good to go. What you can do, you can top up a little bit so that it comes slightly close to the maximum level. And finally, very, very important, we have your washer liquid. This is for washing your windscreen using the wipers, and this is the wiper water. So like this, it can show you that it's very low, so you need to top up always, especially during rainy seasons. So when you're topping up the wiper water, always make sure that you use clean water, very clean water, without any particles that may block the wiper washers. So as you can see, it was almost empty. Yeah. That is where you put your wiper water. This is your coolant. This is your radiator. So we then come to the radiator, and radiator you can check from two places. You can first check that your radiator has water. So as you can see, there is water or coolant here. So it's very important. Sometimes the coolant may be low in the radiator, but available at the coolant tank. So it's very important, and always make sure that the cap is properly tightened to avoid the car overheating. Then for the coolant, this is a coolant tank, and for this car it's at the side of the engine. Some cars you'll find the coolant is in front of the engine, but for this car is at the side of the engine, and you'll see the coolant level will be indicated at the side of the coolant container. How you check the coolant? You open the coolant cover, and there is this pipe that goes into the coolant, this one that goes inside the coolant tank, and it will show you at the level at which the coolant is. Then you can top up, or you can leave it as is if the coolant. Always make sure that your fluids are within the minimum and the maximum level. Same for the coolant, same for the radiator, even though it's always not necessary to fill the radiator. And also for the oil, this is where you check your oil. If your battery is maintenance free, then there's nothing you need to do on your battery. But if it is a maintenance battery, then you need to always check your acid levels and top up if necessary at the petrol station. So that is how you do a basic check of your motor vehicle. And something that I want to point out, petrol station attendants are not trained motor vehicle mechanics. They're just normal people picked from the streets and put into the petrol station, just like as you walk into a restaurant and you find a waiter. Probably if you go to high-end hotel like five stars hotel, you'll find that the waiters are trained waiters. But in most hotels, you'll find that waiters are just kawaida people, someone to just pick your order, go to the kitchen, collect food, and bring it on your table, as opposed to a chef who is trained on how to prepare the food you're going to eat. So the same way, when it comes to servicing of the vehicle, a mechanic would be better placed to know what service is required in your vehicle or what might bring a problem to your car. But when it comes to petrol station attendants, please be very careful with those people. Some people sit inside their car as the petrol station attendants check those fluids for you. Some of them will lie to you that I have replaced the coolant, I have replaced probably brake fluid, I have added brake fluid, I have added what else? Any other thing. And they'll just bring you a bill, you just pay up and go. Probably they did not even replace anything. Probably they checked the wrong thing. And in fact, some of them are known to add more oil than is necessary in the car, and which creates a problem for your car. Like I've explained earlier, if any of these fluids is above or below their minimum levels, then they might cause a problem to your car.